Animal Crossing is a series which has affected me more than any other games I've played. My introduction to Animal Crossing was Wild World at about the age of 11, which was about 3 years after the game was released. I practically begged my parents for a DS Lite and a copy of the game. And after I passed some entry exams for high school, I finally had Wild World in my grubby little hands. My memories of Wild World have always been related to summer holidays. It was all I played during my days off school, and I had some friends who owned the game too, so we'd hang out and visit each other's towns. The game gave me a kind of freedom that you don't really know as an 11-year-old. You move out on your own and start a new life. You buy a home and pay mortgages, and you can decorate your character, house, and town as you wish. This is your world, with no parents to tell you that digging holes to trap others is socially unacceptable. Animal Crossing nailed escapism in such a simple, charming way. The everyday life aspect is spiced up with the inclusion of anthropomorphic animals, accompanied by their own quirks and personalities. It was so convincing that I genuinely believed Alfonso was my best friend. He still is. Even now, I'll listen to the soundtrack during times of stress, and it never fails to calm me down. All those memories of relaxing summer holidays come flooding back, and I feel safe once again. I feel like I owe this game at least one video on my channel, so here it is. My love letter to Animal Crossing Wild World. The first day in Wild World is, in my opinion, the most special and memorable. It opens with a rainy cab journey as the driver captain asks you some questions about yourself and where you're going. For me, the weather in this scene creates a sense of comfort in a way, as you sit inside the cozy little cab while the rain beats down outside. This is probably thinking way too deep, but you could see it as a metaphor for Animal Crossing, because no matter what is happening on the outside in the real world, you can always feel safe and immersed in this virtual world. I've always found the sound of the rain quite therapeutic in itself, so this opening scene captures the relaxing essence of the game perfectly. Anyway, I would happily answer Captain's questions, but when he asked me what the name of my town is called, oh man, do I sit there for like 20 minutes trying to decide what I should call it, usually resorting to something quite unimaginative. The way you answer questions also determines the gender and appearance of your character model, which was something I took very seriously, and would restart the game if I didn't like the outcome, because some of them are absolutely disgusting. Once you arrive, you head into the town hall to meet Pelly, who gives you a map of the town and advises you to find your new home which Tom Nook has allocated to you. You head over to the house and it's pretty small to say the least. But I always see this room as the start of a new beginning, and its modesty is kind of cozy in a way. Upon exiting your new home, the icon of Animal Crossing, Tom Nook, comes to greet you. He asks you if you want to buy the house you looked at, and once you say yes, it's all yours for 19,800 bells. Fairly decent price considering the state of the London property market. Tom Nook reassures you and says he'll let you work at his shop to pay off some of the debt, which brings us to the tutorial section of Animal Crossing, which is nicely disguised as a part-time job. You'll learn how to plant flowers, write and send letters, post notices on the bulletin board, and run errands such as delivering items to villagers. When you finally finish working for Tom Nook, this is where the creative freedom of the game really kicks in. In my opinion, the most addictive part of Animal Crossing are the collectibles. You've got bugs, fish, fossils, and art which can be collected and displayed in your museum. I would spend ages trying to catch a bee and got stung too many times to even count, but I finally did it and it felt so good. It's an incredibly satisfying feeling walking through all the rooms and seeing your collection slowly build. Not to mention, it's a fantastic and unique way to display collectibles in a more visual and lively way, rather than just having a menu with a list of things you got, although that's available too. This gives you a lot more incentive to actually catch all the bugs and fish, dig up all the fossils, and buy all the art of the biggest scumbag in the world, in order to complete your museum's collection. There are also songs, golden tools, furniture series, and gyroids that you can indulge in, should you somehow need more things to sink your time into collecting. A way that Animal Crossing follows the flow of time is through its weather and seasons. There is a clear distinction between spring, summer, autumn, and winter, not just through the colour of the leaves of the trees, weather and seasonal events, but even through the appearance of certain fish and bugs. Each season has its own special atmosphere, and I always look forward to each and every one of them. My favourite thing was the way the snowy winter blanket crunches beneath your feet as you try to build your snowman, who will come to life and reward you if you built them with perfect proportions. There are so many different variations of the sky, and you often don't pay much attention to the top half of the screen, but there's still nice detail there. You might even see a shooting star if you're lucky. Rainy days are often my favourite in the game, and accompanied with the relaxing soundtrack, it becomes such a powerful tool for comfort, at least for me anyway. Animal Crossing puts the real-life clock to good use, through its flowing movement from morning to night accompanied by correlating music. There's a different soundtrack for each hour of the day, with the atmosphere being reflected perfectly. In the morning and daytime, we have a more lively soundtrack, whereas the late evening and nighttime have a calmer, almost sleepy feel. Like I said, I put on Animal Crossing music whenever I need to de-stress, and it really does work, in part thanks to the tranquil nature of it, but also because of my personal relationship with the game. Seasonal events include things like the Acorn Festival, where you trade acorns for mushroom-themed furniture, the fireworks show, which is my personal favourite, and of course New Year's Eve and New Year's Day celebrations. There are even bug and fish catching competitions throughout the year, where you can compete for a cool gold trophy to show off in your house. Other events include Yay Day, where you and your villagers give compliments to each other, and the Flea Market, where you can buy other villagers' furniture and sell your own. You also get the Flower Festival, where you compete with your villagers for the most flowers around your home. And if you're feeling a bit evil, you can cheat by stealing flowers and placing patterns on the ground, so no one else can plant anything. Because let's face it, being an arse is kind of fun. These events give Wild World even more depth, and with the involvement of the other villagers, it creates a sense of community within your town. My favourite location in Wild World is The Roost, which is a little cafe run by Brewster. Here, you can order a nice hot cup of coffee, and you might think that spending 200 bells on a virtual coffee just to watch your character drink it is a waste of time and money. But it wasn't to me. In a weird way, I felt like a responsible adult, and it felt like a relaxing treat from all that time I spent catching fish and running other errands during the day. I'd almost describe it as a form of virtual self-care, where you don't have to do it, but it makes you feel good, and that's all that matters. Not to mention, there would be a special guest at the Roost every week, and as a kid, I used to get ready every Saturday just before 8 PM, so I don't miss KK Slider's performance. Although I did eventually learn that you can just change the time and date in-game, there was something special about waiting for 8 PM every Saturday in real time. I think you learn to appreciate it a lot more. The KK Slider songs were a calming end to the evening, and you even got to take a copy of the song home to play on your own stereo. If that's not wholesome, then I don't know what is. I do also want to mention that my second favourite location is probably Nook's shop, since getting him to chase you around was weirdly entertaining. Speaking of NPCs, Rossetti is probably the most terrifying character I've ever come across. He serves the function of basically harassing you every time you exit the game without saving. I think it's probably because of him I have a habit of saving all my games way too often. Also, his theme is what plays in my head whenever someone annoying is talking to me in real life. It makes the experience a lot less miserable, surprisingly. Sometimes the relationship with NPCs can change too, and Sable is a good example of this. She starts off as shy when you first move into town, often deflecting the conversation to her sister Mabel if you attempt to speak to her. However, if you talk to her every day, she will eventually open up to you more. It's such a minor thing in the grand scheme of the game, but the satisfaction of having Sable finally talk to you is immense. Every now and again, you'll receive a letter from your in-game mum, but you never actually see her. She will frequently send you gifts and little messages. However, you can't send anything back. It's kind of cute if you think about it. Your mum sending you letters despite never hearing a response. It really is like virtual unconditional love. The possible interactions and relationships that can be forged between you and your villagers have a level of realism, despite the unrealistic circumstances of the game. Not only do they have birthdays and throw parties which you can attend, but they will celebrate your birthday too, with letters and presents. Occasionally, your villagers will even get sick and ask you to bring them some medicine, and I'd always make sure to have some in stock in case this happens. Your daily interactions with villagers will mainly include adorable conversation and the modification of certain phrases they use, and nicknames they give you. I have to admit, I didn't particularly take these too seriously, but that's the fun of it. They will often ask you to complete certain requests like getting a specific item for them, or delivering items to other animals. Sometimes they'll send you letters, and they will respond to yours. Not directly, but with a sweet message nonetheless. You do all of this in the aim to befriend your favourite villagers. This isn't just emotional satisfaction, as you even get a physical object as a reward for reaching the max friendship level, which is in the form of a framed picture of them. Once placed in your home, you can even read a unique message on the back. On the other end of the spectrum is when a villager decides to move away from your town, which is definitely the most heartbreaking aspect of the game, especially if it's a villager you really liked. Sometimes you can convince them to stay, but they don't always change their mind. On the other hand, when villagers you dislike are moving out, that's something to be celebrated. Plus, I'd normally speed up the departure process by making their life a misery. One of the most iconic features of the Animal Crossing franchise is the very language that the villagers and NPCs use to communicate. Yes, there are subtitles we can read and understand, but I'm talking about the spoken language which has been dubbed as Animalese. Now, depending on the personality of the villager, the pitch of their voice will vary, with the grumpier personalities sporting lower pitched voices, and the peppy personalities with their higher pitched voices. Adding this unique language to the game is another great tool that makes us feel like this world is more believable. Plus, by not using English voice actors, for example, it's more cost effective and easier to supply characters with a voice. Not just that, but it also adds to the escapism, further separating itself from your reality and maintaining its own. The way you make money in Wild World will develop as you go along. You will start with shaking trees and collecting shells, and climb your way up to selling foreign fruits and rare bugs. And with more money comes more house upgrades, and more mortgages, until you've finally expanded your house to the max. Eventually, you have so many rooms you probably use at least one of them just for storage. Life in your town becomes more comfortable for you as time moves on, and I have to admit this is kind of where I started to stop playing the game, or even start a new town. There was something so exciting about working to improve your town, because that feeling of progression was so addictive. Each day I would think about what I would be doing, even when I was away from my DS. Improving my town gave me a lot of joy, and I always wanted to get a perfect town score, but failed. Not that it mattered too much, because trying to get to that point was still fun. Animal Crossing has a plethora of customization options, which grows larger and larger with every installment in the series. Whether it's your character, house, or town you want to make changes to, the game has no shortage of possibilities. This obviously makes your town very personal to you visually, but even your overall gameplay experience is catered to what you want to do. You can even make your own patterns at the Able Sisters shop, which you can then wear as clothing, place on the ground, or use in your house. Not just that, but even the night sky is customizable, as you can design constellations at the observatory. Other customizable options include changing your town flag and even changing the town tune. Freedom of customization ties in with game progression. For example, the more days you play, the more items you see in store, since they change with each day. The hairdressers also becomes available after you've upgraded Tom Nook's shop to the max, which is done by spending a certain amount of money in store. Harriet can change your hairstyle once a day, so if you get a horrible haircut, you can just pretend it never happened. Animal Crossing is one of those games you don't ever complete in a traditional sense. It serves as an extension of your own endless creativity, and is essentially a customizable gameplay experience. You can catch bugs and fish, get into some serious interior design, or you can just run errands for your villagers and enjoy the dialogue. But the main thing is that you don't have to do anything at all. And in doing so, you aren't bad at the game. In fact, the game is serving its exact purpose. To be whatever the hell you want it to be. The amount of customization offered to you in this game makes your gameplay unapologetically you. I need this during times of stress and when I lack self-confidence, because this is my place. I have freedom here, and this is my safe haven, and my real-life problems can't follow me here. I think everyone needs to feel this every now and again. So thank you, Animal Crossing, for being what we all need.